Good morning, grade sevens. Hope you're all good and well. So today is both an exciting day and also a sad day. Why is it exciting? Because we are going to learn how to design a game. I'm going to take you through that step. We're going to design a game together today. And it's a sad day because today is my last day, right? I've enjoyed working with you guys. I hope we're going to work more together in the near future. So yeah, let's just focus on today's activity, focus on today's lesson, and yeah, let's just jump straight into it. Okay, so at the end of this lesson, we are going to focus on the 3-2-1 method again, because we focused more on the KWL a lot, because obviously those are some of the questions that you need to have back of your head before you start learning something. So the 3-2-1, at the end of this lesson, I'm going to ask you the 3 things that you've learned, the 2 things that you will share with your friends and family, and 1 thing that you'll continue doing. Right. Okay, so yesterday we focused on the if and then statement. We focused on this puzzle piece of the block code. And today we are going to design a game using this very same code. You'll see that I'm going to use this block a lot. So hopefully you'll also do the same, right? So hopefully after this lesson, we'll demonstrate an understanding of the if and then statement, right? And then you learn how to use the if and then statement block when you code, when you design your own game. Okay, recap. So what can you say about the if and then statement, right? So that's a question that you need to ask yourself. You can write it down. You can pause this video, you can write it down, and then continue the video after you've written everything down, right? And then in which part of your life will you be able to apply this statement, right? So the answer to that is in your everyday life, right? So for example, if you look at our rights and responsibilities, yes, you do have the right to education, but what's your responsibility? So if you have the right to education, then you have the responsibility to study, right? So that's your if and then. So it applies in almost everything that you come across, right? I'm going to repeat this again. So this is your takeaway message for the day. The if-then statement applies in our everyday lives. Our choices are based on the if-then statement, right? Okay, so this is a rule that says if one thing is true, then the other one is also true, right? Like I told you yesterday, even in science, you have your hypothesis and your conclusion. So at the end of your research or your experiment or whatever that you're busy with, you need to prove your hypothesis at the end, right? So if your hypothesis says this, then your conclusion has to say that. I also made an example of an Uber app, right? That if you request for a ride, then your ride will come. Same applies with your traffic light. If it's red, then you stop. If it's yellow, what do you do? I don't know. I do something different. What do you do? Then if it's green, then you go, right? So if you're walking, when you see that it's orange or yellow, then you need to stop, right? If it's red, you stop. If it's yellow, you stop. Same applies when you're driving. You need to do the same thing, right? But when it's green, before you go, yes, even if it's green, before you go, you need to check your blind spot. You need to check whether there's a car coming or whether there's a pedestrian or anything. Then that's when you can go. Don't just see the green light and then you just go, right? Okay. So the question is, what will you create, right? As you can see, you can animate your name, right? You can do this using codes. You can imagine a world. You can explore like a lot of things, right? You can make a chase game. So that's what we're gonna focus on today. We're gonna create a chase game. You can make music, you can create a story, and you can make your sprites fly and collect food and do whatever. Be as creative as you want to be, right? Okay, so we are gonna go to Scratch, right? Scratch.mit.edu. So today's focus is actually on the building, and so we are creating a game, right? Slowly, so that you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully, at the end of this lesson, you'll be able to design your own game, right? You're gonna go through a lot of puzzle blocks, block codes. You're gonna go through a long process, right? This might take about 10 to 15 minutes. So please bear with me. Okay, so let's go to scratch.mit.edu. So I've already logged on, right? As you can see my username up there. And then once you are in, you have to see a page like this. You go to create, right? We are going to create a game. It's not a fun game though. It's just an idea. It's just for you to have an idea on what you can do, right? So what we're gonna do first, we are going to change our backdrop, right? So we don't want to see this white blank space. So we're gonna have to choose a backdrop. Right? Okay, that looks fine to me, right? So what we're gonna do now is we are going to change that sprite one to cat, right? Why do you change it to a cat? Because it's a cat. We don't want it to be named sprite one, right? And then when you go to um, motion, right? So that's when you're gonna be able to move, and then control event. So control event motion. Those are the modes that you're gonna be using, right? So each time you click on this green flag, something has to happen. So we're gonna use that puzzle block, and then we are going to go to looks, right? The purple blocks, because we want to resize our cat. I feel like it's too big, so let's make it a bit smaller. So we're gonna go to set size to, right? Set size to, then we're gonna change that 100% to a 50, right? To make it smaller. Let's see if our cat changes. Can you see that our cat is now smaller? Our cat is now smaller. And then what we're gonna do is we are going to go to events, right? No, control, and then use the forever, right? And then what do you want to do right now? We want to control our cat to move up, down, left, and right. So how do we do that? We are going to take the if and then puzzle block, right? Put it in there. And then we're going to go sensing and then take key space, right? And I put it in there, right? Okay. May I please pause a bit to check if you have any questions, right, so far? Is there anyone who has a question? Any questions so far? Okay, so let's just recap. So what we did is we chose a backdrop. We changed our cat size from 100% to 50%, right, to make it smaller. And then now we want to make the cat move up, down, left, and right. Right? So we are going to use the up arrow, right? We're going to use the up arrow. And then if you go to events, and control. So these two are the ones that we're going to use the most, right? But for now, because we're focusing on the up key, so we're going to go to motion. So X, like it's like your math. Your X-axis go from left to right, and then your Y-axis go from top to bottom, right? Vertical and horizontal, so X-axis and Y-axis. So we're gonna go to change X by, I'm gonna change that 10 to a 5, right? And then what's gonna happen right now is we want to do the same thing, because can you see, for now we only have, we can control him, we can only make him go up only, right? So we're gonna need if and then logs 3 more. Why do we need 3 more? So that you can have our left, right, and down. 1, 2, and 3, right? And then go to sensing again, choose that, put it in there, another one in here, and another one here, right? Okay, so now we're gonna go back to motion, because we need to see movement, movement, right? After doing that, we are going to change these. So we have our up, we need to get our left and right, we need to get all of that. If you are left-handed, you can use these keys, W, A, S, and D, right, on your left-hand side. But then if you are right-handed, you can use the up, down, left, and right arrows on your right-hand side. Any questions so far? Okay, so we are going to take this. No, up. I'm sorry, I made a mistake here. So we're gonna remove that, put it down here, right? Y for the up arrow. No, that's gonna be our left. Sorry about that. And then left, remember, from right to left, right? Your vertical. So your x-axis are your vertical lines, right? And y-axis horizontal. So you need to take the change y by, put it there, then change that to a 5, and then that's up, right? And then if you want to move down, I'm gonna change that to a 5, right? -5. And then your, okay, please bear with me. Okay, so y, that's 5x. So that's your left, sorry. Left, that's gonna be your -5. And then this is gonna be your y, so change y by. So that's gonna be your down, right? Change it down. That's gonna be -5. And then when you go to change by x, right? So please look at this. We are using change by. We're not using set x2 or set y2. So always use the change, not the set, right? And then what we're gonna do is gonna change that to a 5, right? So let's check if we are on the right track so far. I'm gonna click on the red flag, and then I'm gonna click the up, down, left, and right button. Can you see my sprite moving? Can you see that? Okay, so we need to change that to a right. Can you see that? Up, down, left, and right. Cool. Now, what we want to do is we want to have more sprites, right? Um, we need the sprites to change color. Let's just play around it. Want to change our sprites colors. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add another sprite, right? Wait, in fact, let me go to this cat here and then duplicate. And you see that you can duplicate your cats, you can make 3 or 4 or 5 or 10, it's up to you, right? But if you go to costumes, right? Go to costumes, costume 2, we don't want that, so we're gonna delete that because our focus is on costume 1. So we can duplicate it from here. So now you have costume 2 and costume 3, right? 1, 2, and 3. But then now we want them to be in different colors, right? So our first one, so if you go to fill, right, choose the bucket, then you choose the first one to be red. Let's make the first one red. And remember, when you choose the bucket fill, you're gonna click inside. And remember, if you make a mistake, for example, if you make a mistake, you can undo, right? Use the undo button here. Right? Then we're gonna change our second one to a green. And then we're gonna make our third one blue, right? Let's make our third one blue. Okay, so we have red, green, and blue, right? Red, green, and blue. So if you go back to the scripts tab and then go to events, right? And then you're gonna go to when space key is pressed, what do you want it to do? We want our cat to change color, right? We need to see the next costume. So if you go to looks, right, the purple blocks, what do you want? Switch costume, right? Or next costume. That's what we're gonna do, right? And then let's see what's gonna happen. If you click on our space, can you see the sprite is changing color now? If I click the space bar, our sprite is changing colors. Can you see that? Okay, even if you go to the back to the costumes tab and you press space, can you see that? Different colors. Right. Okay. I'm gonna take a long pause for you to digest everything that I've been doing with you. Let's go back to these codes, right? These all should be the same, but you need to have your up, left, down, and right. And make sure you have the correct coordinates. If it's a positive number, it's a positive number. If it's a negative, please make sure you check those things, right? And then you also changed, we duplicated our sprite, and then you had 3 different colors, right? Red, green, and blue. And then when you press space bar, what happens? It changes color. Can you see that? Okay. So right now, we are going to add another sprite. We are adding a new sprite. What sprite is it? An apple. Right. Okay, so we have our apple. We have our apple right there. Okay, so we also need to change the size of the apple. Remember, when I click on this sprite, you see the code, right? Um, okay. When you click on that sprite, you will see the code. And then when you click on this sprite, there are no codes because we haven't done anything to the apple. Right? So the cat has codes, but our apple doesn't have anything. Right? So now we need to start coding our Apple, right? Start programming our Apple. So I'm gonna go to events, use that, right? And then you're gonna have to go to the looks. Okay. Please bear with me. I'm gonna change, go to looks. And then I'm gonna choose set size, right? Because we need to change the size of the apple again. Because we changed the size of the cat. So now we need to change the size of the apple. We're gonna go to set size to, right? From 100 to a 50, right? Then can you see that's our apple? And then if you do that, if you change that 50 to a 200, or you can change it right here, right? So let's change it to a 50. Now it's smaller, right? Can you see that? Now our apple is smaller. And then if you go to control, then you need to use the forever because we want the apple to move around, right? To move all over the place. When it bounces here, it needs to come here, bounces there, goes down, etc. So we want to control the apple, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to create clone, right? So events, create clone of myself, right? And then I'm gonna use that. Remember, we are focusing on the apple, not the cat right now, right? So we're gonna use that forever. Again, where's our forever block? Put it down here. It might look complicated, but as soon as you get a hang of it, then it'll be easy for you, right? And then you're gonna go to motion again, movement, motion. And then you're gonna move how many steps? Sorry about that. That, and then you want to put it inside, right? I'm gonna change that to a 3, right? And then if you go to sensing, right? No, still on motion because we're still focusing on the movement, right? And then if on edge, it needs to bounce, right? So now the apple, when it gets to the edge, it needs to bounce and go and has to go to a different direction, right? So without those, the apple will just move and move and move without bouncing. So if you have that, your apple will bounce, right? Okay, so when you go to control again, put that weight, 1 second, go to operators, right? Choose a pick random block. Remember, you can put anything in here, right? You can put anything in there. So we're gonna take that, put it in there, right? Change it to a 0.1 second to 1 second, right? So we don't want our apple to move very fast, right? So let's click, let's run it and see what happens. And you see what it does, and that's not what we want, right? That's not what we want. So I'm gonna stop that. And then we're gonna go back to motion and then point in direction. Take that, put it there, right? Go back to operators. Take this again, the same one, right? Pick random, take the same one, put it in there, right? And then you can change the direction of it, right? if you go to our apple, let's see what's going to happen right now. Right? So it changes direction. Can you see that? That's not what we want. We want our apple to move and bounce all over the place, right? So I'm going to take a long pause again because I know this might be a lot for you. It might be a lot for you to digest, but it's something that eventually you need to learn how to do, right? You need to learn how to um, code for yourself, right? So right now I'm just gonna play around different blocks. Can you see we have variables? So if you wanna design a maths game, you wanna use these a lot, right? When you go to variables, you're gonna use that a lot. Joanna and Kao, please stop chatting. Okay. So right now, when you click on our CAD and run the program, you can see that. Can you see that? But then now nothing's happening. So the aim of this game is to actually, if you have your red Sprite, it has to collect red apples. Then if your apples change to green, then your Sprite has to change to green as well, and then collect the green apples, right? Because you see all over the place here, you'll have different apples. You have blue apples, red apples, and green apples. But as soon as you change your Sprite, when you see that you're next to the blue apples, change your Sprite, and then collect your blue apples, right? Change your Sprite, collect your blue apples. Then if you see have red apples, change and then go to red, just like that, right? So that's the game that I came up with, but I'm sure you guys are more creative. I'm sure you can design games that are way better than this one. Um, yeah, so right now, before we continue with our code, I'm gonna go back to the lesson, right? I'm gonna go back to our lesson, and then I want to hear from you, right? So because this is our last day together, I want us to have a chat, right? I want us to talk. I want us to share the three things that you have learned so far, the two things that you will share with your friends and family, and one thing that you will continue doing or start doing. So if there's anyone who'd like to share, please feel free. I'm gonna open it up before we continue with our call. If there's anyone, please you can unmute yourself and you can share with us, right? Three things that you've learned, two things that you will share with your friends and family after this lesson, and then one thing that you will continue to do. Please unmute yourself and share with us. Anyone? Okay. So right now, okay, since no one wants to answer this one, I just want to find out from you, what game ideas do you have? I know I asked you this question yesterday, but only three people responded, right? I'm sure by now everyone has an idea of what they want to do. If you have an idea of a game that you want to design, please share that with us, right? Thank you, Joanna, for sharing. Joanna says that she has learned three things, right? Debugging, loops, and programming. So those are the most important key things to know when you start coding. Because if you don't know what a loop is, then you won't be able to use the loop, right? You need to know its function. You spoke about functions, you spoke about patterns, you spoke about a lot of things, right? I'm sure you have your own dictionary now of your coding language because coding uses a different language. Instead of characters, we say sprites. Okay, I will tell my family about coding and loops. Okay, I will continue to code. Hopefully, once you are done with your dance party on code.org or designing a game in Scratch, I'm sure you'll be able to share that with the rest of your classmates or your teacher when you go back to school. I'm sure you'll be able to email it to me for me to see what you've created. So I hope you stay in touch after this, and I hope to see everyone's game, right? Kao says, I've learned how to do programming, to make a game, and to make different sprites, right? So remember, we were changing our sprites, the sprite color by clicking the space bar, right? So when you press our space bar, and then our sprite changes color. Okay. So what I'm gonna do after this lesson is that I am going to share with you things that you can do after this, right? Remember, once you go into Scratch, so for now, let me just say that. Okay. Um, Yvonne says, I've learned how to change the sprite's color, how to duplicate, and how coding works, right? So just from a few minutes that we've been doing this, already there's a lot that you've learned. Thank you for sharing with me. Khao says, I'll continue coding. Thank you, Khao. Please do so because it's for your own benefit. It's for your own benefit. You're going to make a lot of progress. Like you're going to make a lot of money when you start coding. Right? I advise you to be a coder, right? To be a programmer. You need to start programming, guys. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out here. And then I just want to remind you that when you sign up, and then you have your username there, right? So that's your profile. I have my file with everything that I've created so far, right? So this is something that you created today. You see that 6 minutes ago, but you're not done with it. I won't finish it right now because I'm looking at the time. So remember, when you go into Scratch and you go to Explore and then you go to Ideas, you go to About. So About, it'll tell you what Scratch is, how it works, and then you can watch this video. And then, like, there's a lot to learn, right? You have a lot of videos, a lot of guidelines on how to design whatever that you want to design. Okay. Peg says, I was not here for the past few days, but I know how to program laptops and make stories, games, and dance shows. Wow, that's awesome, man. I'm glad you are able to do that. Right. So what I want us to do right now, as an introduction to Scratch, because this is your introduction, because yesterday I only spoke about one blog and we didn't even code that much, right? So this is your official welcome and your official introduction to Scratch. Okay, so that's your Scratch. That's your Scratch, right? So you saw different animations, you saw music, you saw different games. The game that I like the most is the flying cat that's collecting all the tacos, right? Joanna says, okay, how do we get a sprite we want on Scratch when we download one? Good question. Let me go through that with you right now. So if you go to create, right? So say went through your ideas and you've explored, when you are ready to create, you click on create. And then what you're gonna do is each time you're going to create, you'll see this, right? But not everyone loves cats, not everyone wants to use a cat, so you can just delete that cat, right? There's a bin here next to the cat down here. You can just click on that, then your cat will disappear, right? And then to add a new sprite, you click on this, right? Choose a sprite. You click here. And then you can choose any sprite that you want to use, right? Any sprite. You can take that guy, right? And then you can add more sprites. You can choose another one, right? And add another one. It's up to you how many sprites you want to use, what kind of sprites you want to use. Do you want to sing? Do you want to dance? Do you want to play music? What do you want to do, right? So we are going to do that, for example, right? And then we're going to change our backdrop. Remember? So down here, right? Down here, for now, let's focus on this guy, right? Focusing on this one. Can change his name here. Can change his size. You can make him, let's say 500. Can you see how big he's going to be? So for now, I'm going to leave him on 100 or even 80, right? And then you have that one, you have that one, right? So each time you click, make sure if you want to program this person, make sure you're on the right thing. And it should show you here, up here. When you click on this lady, you will see her here. So it means you're gonna be programming her by using codes, right? So for example, if I say, let's go to motion, move 10 steps, right? Let's say, yeah, 10 steps, right? Then you go to control. Okay, let's go to sensing, right? Sensing. What do you want her to do? So if you click on the green flag, can you see what's gonna, so because I put that, what's your name? She's gonna say, what's your name? But she's gonna say that forever, right? So whatever you do, nothing's gonna happen. Even if you try to answer. So as she, look at this, she's here, right? As I type in anything, she's moving. Why? Because I used the forever control, right? So make sure you choose the correct blocks if you want to start programming, right? Okay, let's stop that. So if you want to run your code, if you want to see how far you've gone, you're going to click on this green flag only if you use this event. So you can either use this and click here, or use this when this sprite clicked. So for example, when I use sound, right? So we're focusing on the, can you see that? So instead of clicking the green flag, I clicked on the sprite. Why? Because I chose this block. When this sprite clicked, play what? Play sound. When I click on her, you're gonna get sound, right? Any other questions? Okay, like I advised you, please don't download Scratch. Use it online. Go to scratch.mit.edu and then start using it, right? Scratch.mit.edu and then explore, get ideas, and then start creating. Any other questions? You only have 5 minutes right now. Only have 5 minutes. Okay, as I wait for your questions, I'll just continue with the sprites, then motion, control, let's take forever first, then go to motion. And then what do I want our sprite to do? Let's make, okay. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, I think now this is the time for us to share. We are going to share the three things that we've learned, two things that you want to share with your friends and family, and one thing that you continue to. So I'm going to open this up for you to think and share with the rest of us. And remember, choose the sprites here, change the sizes here, and then you choose the backdrops here. So when you click on that, you choose a backdrop, you can have any background that you want. And you can choose from all of these. You can choose from all of these. So let's choose a pool, for example, and then choose a sprite. What sprite do you want? A crab. Right. So we have our crab next to the pool. And then you can start coding, right? You can just add codes. It's up to you what you want to do, right? So there are different game ideas that you can have, that you can produce. Okay. Joanna says that she learned where to get the sprites, right? And what sprites can do. Right? So this is where you get your sprites. This is where you get your backdrop. So that's what Joanna is learning today. Okay, grade sevens. If there's nothing else, okay. Devon says I will show my family and friends how to code and how to make their sprites move. Right. So remember, this is on YouTube. This whole video is on YouTube. So you can go back to it and get some ideas. Go back to the first activity that we did together. Right. So if you go to this again, right, and then I click, can you see that? I'm not ready to share that. I'm not ready to share because I haven't completed my game, right? So we need to see our code, right? So I'm gonna finish off this one, and then hopefully when I publish it, I'll let you know. And then, yeah, I think we are done for the day, right? So go to YouTube, watch this video, see how I made my cat change color, right? And then also see what I did, right? When you click on the green flag, then you can move space bar, change color, arrows, move up, down, left, and right. Can you see that? So after this, I'm gonna continue working on my game, and then I'm gonna share this with you guys. If there's nothing else, I'd like to leave and love you. Goodbye, everyone. Hope I'll work with you again in the near future. See you next time.